Hello, this is Grandmaster Ted Gambardella, and I want to discuss with you why karate doesn't work in the mixed martial arts ring. 20 million people take karate in America, over 100 million around the world. It is the most popular sport for children after soccer and has just about the same dropout rate. When a child reaches puberty, they quit soccer in America and quit karate. Karate schools that cater only to adults do not exist and cannot expect to make a profit. There are no exceptions. If you are teaching only karate, you are not going to make a living teaching adults. And if you are not going to keep many teenagers if you keep just teaching karate and 20-year-olds. Why? Now get ready. Why don't people stay with karate? This is probably going to create quite a furor in the karate world because karate as it's taught now does not work. Not in the UFC, not in the street. You can disagree with me until you turn blue. But until I start seeing MMA champions using karate techniques, you'll never get me or anyone who actually watches MMA fights and has been in MMA fights to agree with you. Karate as it is taught in America and in 90% of the world has become a child's game of touch and tag. Karate weapons are the new foam and they move so fast, they twirl up, it's just completely like aerobics or gymnastics. Karate katas have become gymnastic contests, and the more flips the fighter does, the higher the score is. Karate sparring has become a game of tag and flicking. Points are literally scored by jumping in the air, flicking your hand out, and just touching your fingertips to the head and getting a full point. As if you would have knocked the other guy out, only if you weren't wearing gloves. Children as young as 6 and 7 years old are routinely promoted to black belts. And many schools promote people even younger because they deserve it under the current rules of testing in karate. I have never sat on a board, I've sat on many boards when young people are testing and voted to promote them because they deserved a black belt under the current rules of karate teaching. I love karate, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an old man longing for the good old days. I don't think karate was tough or good in the good old days anyway. The great fighters in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were just not using karate techniques, but they were doing kickboxing, savate, Muay Thai, and jiu-jitsu. I've never seen a reverse punch used in an MMA fight with effectiveness. I've never seen a back fist used in an MMA fight. I've never seen a hook kick, a tornado kick, a jumping spin kick, a double front jumping kick, a double side kick, a roundhouse high, a heel kick, a crescent kick, a front snap to the head, and even a traditional side kick used very effectively in an MMA fight. Why not? Because they don't work the way they're taught. Because they would break your foot if you do them right. Because they don't do enough damage and they leave you open to a vicious counterattack. Straight line traditional karate punches that break bricks don't work because your opponent isn't carrying a brick in the ring and is moving, and you can't do your breathing and your concentration for 2 minutes and get psyched up before you break that brick or break that guy's head. One more thing. Do you know why they wrap their hands of MMA fighters? It's not to protect the fighter. It's to protect the person hitting by patting the hand. It is because you will break your hand if you don't wrap it when you hit someone in the head very hard. Even when the hands are wrapped, the MMA fighters are always breaking their hand. Look at Uriah Faber. I remember when my friend, Guy Metzner, was fighting in the first UFC fights, he did not get to wrap his hands, and he didn't really want to punch the other guy in the head. Even when he was on the ground, he used open palm heels because he knew that it would break his hand if you hit someone hard on the top of the head with your bare knuckles. I've broken my hand punching a guy in a fight in the street. I've broken my hand punching a guy wearing gloves in a karate tournament. I've broken my foot kicking a man in a street fight. I've broken my bones hitting the wall. For those of you who don't know me, I want to stop reading for a few minutes and walk over to the nearest brick wall. For those of you who don't believe me, I want you to just stop the video right now and go over to the nearest brick wall or a stud, not the plywood, and I want you to hit it as hard as you can with your knuckles. Then I want to take your shoe off. I want you to kick it as hard as you can with a good traditional front snap kick in karate. And then I want you to go to the doctor and get your hand fixed and your foot taped, because they will be broken. It's because they're not wrapped, and yes, because you're not trained to kick bricks, wood, trees, or heads with your modern karate training. When we used to train in karate, we used to punch the makawari board 500 times a day and kick them with our bare feet and hands 400 to 500 times a day. When I started karate in 1963, that hurt too much for the new students, and I bet there are 20 karate schools in America now, only about 20 that have a makawari board, a straw makawari board left for the students to punch 500 times a day. You know, they don't train their hands and feet anymore, and I'm not saying they should. It causes more problems than it's worth. It causes arthritis, bloody knuckles, pain. It's not worth it, and you'll run your students off. Don't read this article or listen to this tape or watch it and think I'm trying to tell you to go out and buy a straw makawari board and punch it 500 times a day. The purpose of this video is simply to explain that karate as it's being taught now does not work in an MMA ring. I didn't just get the karate teacher, I didn't do this to just make karate teachers upset. I'm going to talk about the same thing with Kung Fu, Kempo, Aikido, Savate, Copernica, Jeet Kune Do, and these other things. They don't work in the MMA ring because what they're teaching is a totally different sport than actual, closer to the street fight action in the MMA ring. So give some comments on this and let me know your opinion. But before you do it, I want you to walk up to the nearest brick wall and I want you to punch it as hard as you can with a good old karate Kia! And tell me if you broke your hand. I want you to take off your shoes and I want you to front snap that tree as hard as you can. And tell me if you break your foot. Then tell me you understand why karate doesn't work in MMA. This is Grandmaster Gambadella.